I can almost guarantee in the past somebody has told you this: get on the throttle as early as possible. But you've also been told this: get on the throttle at the apex. Well, which is it? Well, the truth is they're both wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why and what you should be doing. Hi, my name is Nick, and welcome to Last Tenth. It is my mission, whether through my videos or live coaching, to leverage my knowledge of physics and data to help you become a faster, more consistent, and more competitive sim racer and real-world performance driver, so that you can find your last tenth. How many times have you been told by another driver, a coach, in a forum, or from articles to get on the throttle as early as possible? It's been baked into so many people's heads that nobody ever stopped and questioned it. They believe the earlier the throttle, the earlier you accelerate, the more speed you exit with, which is only partly true. Myth busting this is actually quite easy because it totally fails the sniff test. If I wanted to, I can get on the throttle as early as I want. I can initiate throttle at the start of the corner as long as I was going slow enough. In other words, I can get on the throttle and accelerate as early as I'd like, as long as I overslowed enough. But that doesn't mean I'll exit faster, and more importantly, it doesn't lead to lower lap times, because you give up speed and time when you overslow. Now, what does this look like from a technical perspective? Let's go to our trusty equation A equals V squared over R. For those that haven't seen this, it basically means the cornering force equals speed squared divided by the turning radius. Blah, 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 blah. Or in simpler terms, if the car is at grip limit, speed and turning radius must move in the same direction. If speed increases, the turning radius must also increase. So why does this matter? Well, let's look at a typical corner. Every plain vanilla corner will have this anatomy. It goes from a straight line to a maximum turning, then back to a straight line. So the radius actually goes from infinity to a minimum back to infinity. And this minimum radius, by the way, should be at the apex. Remember that at maximum grip, speed needs to change with radius. This means as the radius decreases, so does speed. That's why you decelerate into a corner and accelerate out of it. Let's see what happens when you get on the throttle early and accelerate. When you accelerate whilst heading towards the apex, you're trying to increase speed and decrease radius. This means the turning force increases dramatically, and you need to use more grip to stay on that line. Now, one of two things will happen. Scenario 1, the car doesn't have any more grip to give you, and as you increase speed, radius increases too. The car can't stay on the racing line, and you either have to lift to decrease speed and radius, or you miss the apex. Neither of which is good. Or scenario 2, you increase speed and decrease turning radius, and the car does have more grip you can use to stay on that line and hit the apex. So what's wrong with that? Isn't that what we want? The problem is that if the car had more grip available, it means you must have not used all of the car's grip before then. So if you underutilize grip entering the corner, by definition, you're entering too slow. But if you go any faster, you will end up in scenario 1. The biggest problem with entering too slow is that your brain will pick up on that and try to get on the throttle, which will lead to one of the two scenarios I mentioned, and neither of which are fast. The correct solution to that is enter faster and apex earlier. Now that we know getting on the throttle as early as possible is bad advice, what about getting on the throttle at the apex? Well, that's wrong too, and you may be thinking, wait a minute, Nick, isn't that what you said we should be aiming for? And the answer is no, this is what I said. At the grip limit, speed needs to change with turning radius. In a corner, when the radius is at minimum, which is at the apex, speed must also be at the minimum. So we need to accelerate at the apex. And the key difference here is throttle does not equate acceleration. At any given moment, there are a variety of forces that is slowing the car down. You have drag from air resistance, parasitic losses from your powertrain, tire scrubbing from turning. If you have zero throttle, your car will be decelerating because of all these forces. So you need some amount of engine power just to overcome these forces so that you're not losing speed. The amount of throttle to reach that amount of engine power, as you probably know, is maintenance throttle. It is the amount of throttle to maintain speed. Any less, you decelerate, and any more, you accelerate. In order to accelerate at the apex, you must reach maintenance throttle at the apex, which means you must start your throttle before the apex. I know your next question is, how much before? Well, that's a harder question to answer, but this is how you should think about it. You have two goals: accelerate the car at the apex and manage the speed such that the car is using all of the grip through the entire corner, including on approach to the apex. This may mean initiating your throttle earlier because you need to reduce your deceleration earlier, or initiate your throttle later because you need to keep reducing speed. But in both cases, you are starting your throttle before the apex. Also, throttle too early and slowly and you'll transfer load smoothly, but you'll end up transferring the load too early and understeering, especially if you're producing so little torque, your differential stays locked. Throttle too late and quickly will shift weight too abruptly and understeer the car, or add too much torque to the rear wheels and spin. And there you have it. By now, you should know that starting your throttle at the apex or as early as possible are both suboptimal. And if you're accelerating the car a good distance before or after the apex, you're doing it wrong. Just check your replays and in-car videos to see if you're making this mistake. The throttle is just a means to an end. Your goal is speed and grip. Your throttle is just the tool to get you there. Your goal is the end result and inputs are just the tools. And that's the reason why the phrase smooth is fast is so often misunderstood. It doesn't actually mean you need perfectly smooth inputs. And if you want to know why, make sure you're subscribed and notified for my future video on this topic. If you found this useful, share it with your fellow drivers and sim racers because there are many other videos just like this that may help you. If you have any questions on this topic or anything else, let me know in the comments below or shoot me a message on my Discord server by visiting discord.lasttenth.com from your browser. A lot of you have already reached out to me for advice and coaching, and you all know how much I like to chat about this stuff, so keep it coming. But until then, keep sending it, and I'll see you next time.